Right up, we are going to toss it over to Glenn Jones in the sideboard with Standard Open winner Harry Corvese.
Hello everyone and welcome to the sideboard here at the Indianapolis Open Series. I'm Glenn Jones and I am joined by our champion, Harry Corvese. Harry, congratulations on the Standard Open.
Thank you, Glenn.
Here is your cup. I hear this is your first trophy.
It is. Hopefully one of many, but now I've got some hardware. So
all right, well, we've got a mantle started.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you decided to play Esper Control.
I did decide that.
Before entering the finals, you made a little bit of a post on Twitter, tune in for some Esper lessons,
right.
basically.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the keys to the Esper Control mirror? Because I've heard some different arguments.
So there's a lot of parity in the Esper mirror. So each deck has the tools to fight the problems that the other deck poses, in particular post-board. So it's very much an ebb and flow of what's important in the current moment. Counter spells should usually be saved to counter Aetherling.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, a good way to get your Aetherling to resolve is to end step a Sphinx's Revelation, which, while it might be for 3 or 4 and seem threatening, is actually just bait, so that you can untap and resolve your Aetherling. Obviously, in that game 3, you saw that Elspeth parity can be a little bit something that you have to fight over. The Elspeth that comes into play first has the advantage because they get to the emblem faster, so the second Elspeth has to try and fight their Elspeth, et cetera, et cetera. Generally, the early Jaces and the card drawing are things that you just sort of ignore because the important things in the Esper mirror are few and far between, but when they come up, you have to have answers for them. Also, you need to leave like Supreme Verdicts in games 2 and 3 because of the presence of Blood Baron and Viscopa. So there's a lot of trumps that need to have answers, but you just sort of need to identify what's most important in the present turn and fight over it if necessary.
Yeah, holding the counter spells in that way, specifically like targeting Aetherling and keeping count of them.
Right.
I actually had misunderstood the mirror myself. It feels like old control mirrors used to be whoever blinked first tends to get got.
Right.
And these, it feels like you actually want to be more proactive, like the first person to start jamming things. Like you mentioned the first Elspeth.
Yeah.
The first easiest way to get there is to cast it first. Mm-hmm. So it feels like you can be a lot more proactive in control mirrors in today's standard format than in previous standards.
Yeah, there's more ways to be proactive because we've got a lot of expensive sorceries that are powerful when we resolve them. But the reason that you saw a lot of resolved Elspeths in the early games, I don't know if you saw, well, I'm sure they saw, but we fought over Thought Seizes early on. We fought heavily over Thought Seizes, mostly because of information. And once you commit to countering a Thought Seize, you're sort of all in on countering the Thought Seize. Otherwise, once it resolves, it's going to strip a card anyway.
It's going to strip even worse, yeah.
Exactly. So once all that happened, that early fighting, we were both, sort of nerfed as far as our
punch
counter
drunk,
magic
basically.
was concerned. Yeah, exactly. So then the jamming Elspeths was more relevant. We were just sort of running boats into boats.
Sure.
Whoever had the bigger boat won.
Yeah, Thoughtseize does seem incredibly important since, as you said, it's all about in the moment, knowing what's important, and Thoughtseize gives you the full package as far as
the card is certainly very important. The information, however, is arguably it's comparable. I wouldn't say the card is certainly very important.
Yeah, certainly like a 1.7 for one, something
like
exactly.
that. it's close. The information is key. In game 1, I resolved an early Thoughtseize. I was sending off Revelations for 3 and 4, trying to find a Thoughtseize because I'd already found my Aetherling and had counter backup and was at 10 mana, which is the number that you need to cast Aetherling and have counter backup and have it be able to blink once. And I found my Thoughtseize, so I Thoughtseized him and saw that he hadn't drawn any of his counter magic yet in game 1 and just jammed the Aetherling right there with 3 lands. So you could, the information there was certainly very important, more important than the card that I took, which is relevant. I think I actually took an Azorius Charm because having him cycle in response and hit a counter spell would have been pretty devastating.
Yeah, okay. All right, Harry. Well, it's been quite a ride. Congratulations on your trophy.
Appreciate it.
Guys, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to the booth, and they'll get you ready as we start getting the Invitational Top 8 competitors ready to go. They're all here. They're all raring. They're out for blood. So throw it back to the booth.